All right, Sonic Adventure. We're playing as Gamma. You all know the drill by now. Let's just start the montage. So yeah, we play as one of Eggman's robots in this story. We are just immediately dropped into it. So we're going to be able to kind of see the perspective from the inside. Kind of get to see what Eggman's been up to, like at the start of the story here. As playing as one of his robots. Alright, so this level is basically just a practice. So Gamma's whole gimmick is shooting. Aim and shoot. The more you get a string together, the more time you get, because unlike all the other stages, the time's actually counting down. So you have a limited amount of time to do this. Not that I think it's ever a problem. I don't think I've ever actually ran out of time in Gamma's stages, because I think I honestly think his stages are pretty easy, all things considered. And yeah, that's the end of the first stage. I didn't even get to, like, finish talking about Gamma's whole deal. Alright, and now we're at Station Square. I didn't even really get to fully... That first stage went by so fast, and we got kicked immediately to, like, the next part. But yeah, there's 4 stages for Gamma, but there might as well only be 3, because that one is, like... I think that took me literally 30 seconds to get through. It's kind of interesting, because it's really the only, like, tutorial stage in the game. Like, it's the stage designed to be the tutorial. Like, yeah, you could argue Sonic stage and, like, Knuckles stages are obviously there to teach you how to play the game, but Gamma's is the most blatantly tutorialized. Like, it's so clear it's only for the sake of teaching you how to properly play him. But yeah, now we're at Emerald Coast. And we just go by and just shoot everything. Can't take the loot because Gamma's slow as hell. We also can go on the water. No, we can't. I lied to you all. And you fell for it. And I fell for it too. I fell for my own lie. But yeah, this is the first real stage. Gamma's whole gameplay thing is really simple. I wouldn't necessarily call him complex. But there is a sort of surface level fun to just shooting everything you can and killing everything in your path. But yeah, if you hold down the button, he'll aim at multiple targets. And when you let go, he'll just go hog wild. The more you kill, the more seconds you get. I got 15 seconds from that. And that's already Emerald Coast out of the way. We're halfway through Gamma's stage. Or Gamma's story. This is going to go by quick. And here comes the call. For some reason, showing Gamma the past. I do not know why Gamma's being shown the past here. He's just a random as fuck robot from Eggman. You could argue that for whatever reason, this moment here might be what ends up causing him to break away from Eggman. But I really don't see the connection between the two. I might be misremembering. I think there might be actually 5 Gamma stages, not 4. Because think about it now, there's 3 boss fights, isn't there, after this? Something's changed in Gamma. This is the wrong room.
This is the wrong room.
I always like that line. But yeah, I actually really like this moment. I actually think Gamma's story is, like, the best told. Because now we're going to go into Amy, and before, like, why did Gamma turn? You know, it just seems, like, sudden. When you play his story, you get the very needed context that literally right before he entered that room, he saw Beta getting, like, dismantled. That's very fresh in his mind when he goes in here to get the bird from Amy. So it gives you the context to make you realize it's not as abrupt as a change as you might think. I think it's the best part of the game that really utilizes the different perspectives very well, where you actually do get to learn some context on why a character's acting the way they act. I really like that this game did the whole, like, multiple storylines, but I admit, I don't think it utilizes that aspect of it as well as it could have. Like, this moment where, like, oh, now it makes sense why the character is, like, doing this thing. I really don't think there's a whole lot of moments in the game like that. This is one of the few exceptions where I feel like that it does a good job doing that. Because, like, you think about Knuckles getting tricked. Why? Well, how did he get tricked by Eggman? He just did. Eggman just told him that Sonic is looking for the Master Emerald Shards, and Knuckles sees him and mistakenly thinks he has one. I don't think that's nearly as clever.
Why try to save that which is useless to you? Does not compute.
Sugar, sugar, sugar.
I really like the line useless here. Because that's probably how he's ultimately feeling, seeing how Beta just got scrapped. His brothers just got teleported away. Just easily thrown away. And of course, you know, if you know the story, you know why seeing that bird makes him ultimately finally crack and let them go. I haven't talked much about the story of Sonic Adventure, mostly because, granted, I don't think there's much to actually talk about with it. It's like, it's not bad, but like, it's not like the greatest story ever told either. It serves its function. But I think Gamma's story is genuinely a pretty good, well-told story. The Jet Booster. There we go. So this helps make the stages a little more interesting. The first two, admittedly, you're just kind of holding forward and shooting everything in your path. This actually involves some platforming into the mix. I think we are, unfortunately, reaching that point where the cutscenes and the in-between sections are actually way longer than the time you spend inside the levels. Because this is like the third cutscene now, and now we're just going to fight Sonic, and then there's going to be more cutscenes before we finally get to enter the third level. It gets a little ridiculous by the end game here. So now there's actual platforming, so the levels get a little bit more interesting. And now I'm invincible and electric. Now, granted, I don't think these levels are ever actually, like, you're ever really strapped for time. Because, like, we have 3 minutes, and we got 40 extra seconds on the clock here. This is not difficult. I do, however, think the last stage actually can be quite tight if you're not careful. Because I do remember failing once on that level. But for the most part, Gamma is, I'd honestly argue he might be one of the easiest characters. Just because how lenient of the time they give you. But he is still very fun. E1, 3, that symbol. I don't know Latin. I'm sorry. These honestly might be shorter than, like, Big the Cat stages. In fact, the only reason why Big the Cat might be, like, shorter is because Gamma's cutscenes are just longer. If you skip the cutscenes, Gamma might even be shorter than Big the Cat's campaign. Dude, that's just how short these stages have been. Alright, let's head to the next stage. I don't think there's many cutscenes in between Gamma's stories from this point on. Because it's just go save his brothers now. I don't know why these guys were all sent to these levels. Because they were sent away at some... Like, they were sent away, and then, like... I guess they're just... This is where Eggman sent them, for some reason. To undescript missions. I think the thing I really enjoy about Gamma's levels is that despite not being a speedy character, you still feel, I don't know, it still feels like you're going through these levels at a breakneck speed. Just because you can just keep holding forward and blow up everything in your path. So even if you're not literally going fast, there's still this sense of, like, quickness to it all.
Evacuate the city! No hurry though, just you know, whenever.
Unlocking hot shelter sector now.
All right. But before we go to the hot shelter, we got one more power-up we need to unlock. Which is very interesting that we can only get this power-up now because there's only one level left to actually, like, do anything in. This will make the last stage a lot easier.
Use your laser blaster. Its blast damages enemies in a wide pattern.
Yep. It has splash damage, which means you can take out more, which means higher, like, chains and more time. All right. So this is the longest level, but we still only have 3 minutes, which is what makes it so difficult. And why you really gotta stay on top of your, like, enemy chains. Taking on to here. And off we go! Whee! So yeah, we're already down 1 minute and 30 seconds, so we really gotta start moving. And here is E105. We gotta put him out of his suffering by shooting at him a bunch.
2 seconds later.
And he's dead. That was probably even easier than the other guys, because this poor bastard couldn't move. There he is. He's been modified, improved.
Beta.
Oh, that music was really starting to kick in. And then it changes back to the main hub theme. Oh, look out! So yeah, you can't just shoot him because he'll just dodge out of the way. Or reflect it like that. So you gotta wait for the right time. There we go. Had to hit him after his little thing. After his little Wario dash. Gonna try to blow me up again. Multiple times. You're supposed to aim where I'm going, not where I am. And he's down. And that's the end of Gamma's story. Died like a fucking fly having a stroke. And there she is. The mama bird was inside Gamma the whole time. And, well, we're already at the end of his adventure here. Yeah, these stories get really short. But I really like Gamma's story a lot. You know, I think it's the most well told of the stories, and it's as good as a Sonic Adventure Dreamcast story can be with the presentation. But I think it's just a well told story for what it is. You know, it's not something too complex, but I don't know. I just really like it. His gameplay is really fun. His gameplay is really fun. It is a bit mindless at the end of the day. Like, I really wasn't, like, thinking about, like, chaining these together. Admittedly, I was just kind of holding the button at random, letting go, and hoping for the best. And that strategy worked well enough, even in the final stage, which is the most strict. You know, I was getting pretty low there. I was getting down to 1 minute. But nothing too, like, oh, shit. I really need to step up my game here. You know, that could just because, you know, I've played this game 3 times now. This is my 3rd time playing it from beginning to end. So I probably just naturally have gotten better at it. But yeah, it's interesting because Gamma's gameplay style is one of the 3 they brought back for Sonic Adventure 2. You have the classic speedster sections with Sonic. Then you have Knuckles, like, emerald hunting. And then Gamma's, like, shoot-em-ups. They don't keep the time thing. But aside from that, it is basically just more cleaned up version of Gamma stages. But yeah, Gamma actually came about because kids kept asking Sega to give Sonic a gun. That was always a big thing. Kids really wanted Sonic to have a gun. Gamma was their first answer to that. I think you all know what the second answer is. It was Shadow the Hedgehog. But Gamma's was their first attempt at trying to appease those give Sonic a gun fans by having a guy who shoots. And I think they did a pretty good job incorporating it into this game. Gamma's theme is also interesting. It's one of the few that don't really have lyrics. Like, there's definitely speaking going on at times in the background, but the whole song isn't like a lyrical song. It's mostly just musical. And that's probably because they wanted to do more of a thing where it's electrical, but then, like, you've heard it a couple times throughout the song. When he's finally free, you hear a more natural piano version of it. So they probably didn't want to do a whole thing where, like, they write a whole song and maybe, like, have a guy sing it with a robot filter and then have another person sing the more natural one. They probably didn't want to go through all that effort, so they just decided to do a more simple instrumental song for him so they can just make 2 variations, one piano and one sort of techno. But yeah, Now with Gammas out of the way, the only thing left we have to do is the final adventure. So that's what the last video will end up being. So thank you all for watching.